Good evening. We have a lecture, a good lecture today. We want you to listen to this one. It's very important. We're at that time right now that we are totally into the paradigm shift. And blacks and others, but especially blacks right now, must know what is going on. We need to know the spiritual parts, and we need to know how to implement the physical part, what we will call the nuts and bolts, how to put this thing together. You need your great substance now. You need to walk into that lifestyle and that person that you are to be. Your 400 years is over with, and you must understand how the scripture said in the Soterian. It's 400 years of Egypt, and then it's 30 years coming into the Canaanite area. What do that mean? Okay, some of you may live in Ohio, some of you may live in Chicago, some of you may live in California, some of you may live in Washington, some of you may live in Oregon, some of you may live in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee. Some of you may live in the various states, and you got to understand that after that 400 years, it's a state of consciousness that you must transform yourself into that state of consciousness. You must believe that God wants to bring you out of condition. You must be able to use that power. You must connect to that power that's in the Word of God that say that you will be moving in the Canaanite area after the 400 years. Now, what do I mean by that? First, you must start mentally believing that that is what God wants you to do, that He wants you to be in that promised land. So what you're doing before you actually move physically into the promised land, you are making your prayers, you're making your thoughts, asking for God to bless you as you make this transition into the promised land. Some of you may not even come this way for 10 years or 5 years, etc., physically, but you must mentally see yourself as having a space in this continent, on this continent. That space, we have taught you, is North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Those 4 states, you must come in and dominate and be able to become that people that you need to be. Because God wants to make you a promised land and want you to be in this promised land as a people. Martin Luther King seen it right before he died. He's seen this. And I am a messenger from God bringing you 50 years later into this ideology of this promised land and this ideology of the reparation that you need to be able to cash your check. But what you got to do before that check and before all that, you must get to a state of consciousness to believe the scripture of God that deal with you. You must put thought consciousness in your mind. That way you can overcome any other obstacle, and that way magical things can happen in your life as your mind is transformed into that people in which God chose you to be, a promised land people. You must get to that point, my peoples. You must accept that, because the power of that is waiting for you to engulf it, to bring it into your life. And how they used to use that term? Your faith need to be as the faith of a mustard seed. In other words, you got to be so solid in your belief that you see it as you hold it in your hand from your mind, that you know it's so real now. And you need to be to that point. Now, I'm covering this lecture, the title 2019 to 2020, Black Social, Economic, Political Inequities. What inequity mean? Lack of fairness, of justice. Now, you need to see this because it's very important in your life. And you're going to find this. Inequalities in your life. You're going to see this because it's in this book, Judgment of America. You're going to see a whole chapter about these inequalities under the prodigal son. You're going to see that. Also, as you begin to purchase this book and get this book, and some that already have this book, I want you to turn to page 99 and to 110. This is where in this book you're going to see that material of the prodigal son. As well, I'm going to talk about this book You need to also purchase this book as well, so you can have this book in your library. You can study this book so you can know what does say the Lord. These two books, Judgment of America, Black Nostradamus, Prophecy of American Future. Now, let's go into this lecture because it's very important. Now, in this, I'm going to talk about the prodigal son, but I'm not going to go in the beginning. I'm going to refresh in your mind on what the prodigal son is. The prodigal son is a story, is a biblical story. It branched from Noah time. Noah had 3 sons. The Quran said Noah had 4 sons. Okay, and in our biblical way of understanding things, we say that's where the sons came from. Some of the sons came from. Now let's understand something. Now I don't want to bust nobody's bubble, but this world did not start that we're living in. Did not start 6,000 years ago. Come on, let's be realistic, okay? I know that you see certain things in the Bible and they give you a chronology in the Bible, but let's understand that this was written for various reasons, and you got to incorporate those various reasons in here as you translate it. By being an initiate, I'm here to tell you that mankind been on this planet for a very long time. He's been here for millions of years. So ain't nobody just came here 6,000 years ago. And I know they want to brainwash you in that so they can have more control on this and that. But sometimes you got to back up and pull up and start understanding what this Bible is all about. I'm going to say it again. This Bible could do 2 things for you. This Bible could free you, or this Bible could enslave you. And you must understand that. Always understand that there's another Bible that goes along with this Bible that came out of this Bible called the Slave Bible. If you study about the area of Tennessee, you'll find out that that's where that Bible resides at right now. They had it on display one time in New York City, if I'm not mistaken. But it's called a Slave Bible. And you need to understand that it's a Slave Bible. Okay, now this Bible here must be interpreted properly. And if it's not interpreted properly, you will not have your deliverance the way you need your deliverance. So God sends you a messenger so you could be delivered. Inequalities is what you need to understand. These inequalities is things that have happened, and you must understand why you're in this condition you're in. Now, let's deal with it. The prodigal son. In the prodigal son, Noah had 3 sons, but this story is only about 2 sons. And you're going to hear him talk about the father having these 2 sons. An older son, he specifically say an older son and a younger son. This older son is known in the Bible as Japheth, and the younger son is known as Ham. And this is what it's talking about, that genealogy. That genealogy is going to be in a certain location, and these things is going to happen in that location. I told you this Bible here was sent to America. So the location is America. So these 2 brothers going to be in America. One going to send the other one into the field to feed the swine and do working him and all this other stuff. And he's not going to be fair to him. And the other brother's going to be the one that's running everything. And God is going to move that younger brother or that black brother out of that condition that this white brother, as you call it, Eurocentric brother, have put him into. And you got to see that. That's what this story is all about. So let's understand what the Bible is saying. The more we begin to study this, to see what it really is, then we can begin to see what steps need to be made to come out of the condition. We need to know how we got in that condition and how we need to come out of those conditions. People say, well, you got in the condition because of sin. But they never define sin. So you need to know what sin truly means. You know, you hear someone say the Greek term is imbalance. Imbalance, what do imbalance mean? And how am I imbalanced? See, all these things got to be answered. Just saying imbalance, and you know, and all that. See, a lot of times they teach the symptoms of sin and not the sin itself. And I'm going to show you how to see the sin itself and not just the symptom of sin. Because the sin itself is what's going to help you understand how you got into this situation and how you're going to get out of this situation. And this is where you need to see. Now, but one of the sons, the younger son, you know, he came to a point and said, man, know thyself. He came to that point where he was in that consciousness of man, know thyself. That's male and female. I know the Bible talk about he more than they do she, but you got to understand that ye are the sons of God. That means male or female. So you're talking about a genealogy. So that genealogy do not include, it's not just about a man. It's about male and female. We got to start understanding this Bible. This Bible was written in the 1600s. In the 1600s, everything was mostly male dominant. Man this, man that, and all that crap. But God ain't dealing like that. When you breaking it down and showing what God wants you to know, it ain't no man dominant. It's man and female. Woman don't take the back seat. Woman be on the side of the man. Quit trying to get her in the back seat, because that's what the church been doing, pushing her in the back seat. She don't supposed to be in the back seat. And you need to understand that. This ministry will never see a woman in the back seat. We know that at certain times of human history, going into this paradigm shift, we know that before this paradigm shift in the age of deception, God permitted man to come forward because man was practicing warfare a lot. God didn't want his ladies, his daughters, to be out there and all that battle and all that nonsense and blood and shooting and all that. So he permitted man to go and carry his little stupid self doing what he's doing. But it didn't mean that he's superior over the woman. No, it didn't mean that at all. It meant that God let man do what he do. Okay? But there's going to come a time in the near future, I wouldn't say very near future, but there's going to come a time in the near future that women's going to be able to control certain environments because they don't have to war. It's going to be a peacetime. And they're good at certain things. And they're going to have to step forward. Now, some women at this time that have the ability to step forward, don't stand in their way. Let them come forth. Okay? Although they won't be dominating this and that, but give them their opportunity. If they are brilliant, if they have understanding, and if they can move this society forward, give them their opportunity. And don't hold back. And get this pulpit junk out, all the bishops, all this, all the males in there, and a woman can't say nothing about God, but she don't have no visions about God. Get up out of here. Get up out of here. My grandmama went through that stuff, and my grandmama was a prophetic lady. She could tell you things before it happened. One time my mother told me a story about that. My grandmother and some guys, some workers, painters were painting my grandma's house, and the painters seen a storm come, and the storm was coming toward that direction of my grandmother's house. And my grandmother told the guys, and they had them put they one of them big wooden houses, but it was a large side house, and they were putting the ladders under the house and stuff like that, and putting the paint up and all that. And my grandmother came outside, as my mother said, came outside and said, "What are you doing?" And they said, Miss Taylor, do you see that that storm is coming and it's going to rain? And my grandmama said, "It's not going to rain over here." And she said, "Go on back to work." And what happened, my mother said, what happened was like, whoa, said it rained a couple of blocks over, but it never rained in her yard. And those guys finished their whole day without any rain touching the house. And that went through the town and said about my grandma, etc., some other things she had done said. And see, you got to take a woman that God want to deal with. See, y'all out there. And God has let me know that you're out there. So I got to talk about that. I don't want to get in there and take away from this lecture, but I got to talk about you women. Don't sit back and let somebody dictate to you how God's supposed to work in your life. If God is working in your life, give God the opportunity. Despite of what they say, give God that opportunity and let God use you, my sisters. Let God use you as well. This organization is never going to be that male dominant, male dominated. Get out of here. When you see a woman got God with her and she want to bring forth God and she got the potential to do it, let her be who she is. Let her be who she is. And you need to understand that now. Now, what we got to do now, we got to see this. I ain't want to get too deep in that, but I got to go God's way with this thing. When you look at these prodigal sons, you got to understand that this prodigal son story is about America. Everything in that book is about America. And what happened is the Eurocentric, what we call the white man, or the white Eurocentric race, have been able to cultivate this American continent by using that son, that other son, in it to work the fields and do all these different things and eat the things that the swine's at and all this other stuff, as the prodigal son story say. And he, at a certain time, had to come to himself. Now, when is that time? That time is now. You're walking in it right now. Black folks don't want to take the back seat to anyone no more. They want to be able to live and enjoy part of this American dream. They don't want to be the dream any longer. They want to participate and make the American dream be part of their life. Because in the past, it was the Europeans came here and got plenty land, got slave labor, and they was able to live this American dream. And the black man became the part of the dream for the Eurocentric man. He became stock, okay, capital. God want to change that now. That 400 years is over with. See, the first of this month, August the 3rd and 4th, that brought the end of the 400 years now. So how are you going to get your great substance that the scriptures say you must receive? You must get it by understanding first what it is and how God done planned this out for you to come out of this condition so you could be able to have part of this rock here. This turtle island. God wants you to have it, black man and woman. God wants you to have it, but he wants you to be intelligent. He wants you to use thought. He wants you to be intelligent so you can understand the things that's necessary to cultivate you, your children's, and your grandchildren's for generations to come. This is crucially important, my people, so we must understand this. I need you to take this book right here. If you don't have it, order this book. You need this book. And it's going to show you how to order it. You need this book, The Judgment of America. You need this book. You need to study this prodigal son, people, because if you take that story and you study it, how it's written in that book, and you hear this lecture, you're going to understand this thing more. And that's why the book and the lecture is necessary, for you to understand what God have you to do right now. You need to know the spiritual and the physical. It got to become one in your life right now. You got to see the practical reason why you need to be in that location, those 4 states in which God has done carved out for you. You need to know this, my people. Yes. Now, what you're going to see this, and the prodigal son going to come to himself after he done worked so hard and slaved for his brother, and they say, well, he wasted his substance. Nah, come on. In other words, when the black man was captured and brought over here, the things that he knew in the past was taken from him. So he didn't waste anything. It was taken from him, and the Eurocentric wouldn't let him read or study, so he couldn't comprehend. His mind couldn't be fresh with his past, his present life that he had before he became a slave. So what the white man did, or the Eurocentric man did, he wiped his mind. He wiped the slate on his mind. So he developed a new type of Negro, but deep inside his heartfelt spirit, God was still there. He was truly a son. And no matter what no man do, no society do, deep inside, when the sons of God must rise through a generation, through a genealogy, ain't no devil in hell could stop it. And you must understand that, my people. Right now, you are the rising sun. The sons of God is rising in you. You are the rising sons, people. And you must understand that. Because this story is about you, black man and black woman. This is about you. Although it say he, it's about male and female. And you must see this. Black sisters, do not take no back seat on this one right here now. You got to be leaders now. You can't take a back seat. You talk about the Angela Davis and etc. You got to be Angela Davis and plus and plus and plus now. You can't set back. You can't set back no longer. You got to be all these peoples in one. Harriet Tubman, all the other ones. The one that didn't refuse not to, refuse to get out of her seat on the bus, all of them. You got to have all that and plus more inside you now, because your job is to have knowledge with your movement, knowledge with your understanding, wisdom with what you are to do. And this is what God wants you to know. This is a great time, my people. This is a great time. Now, in this story of this young man in the prodigal son, he came to himself. Now, what did the scripture say in Luke 15:17? And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? See, the young man was tired. See, your ancestors done plied the mule so much. Your ancestors have done picked the cotton so much. Your ancestors done cropped the tobacco so much that the energy of them being so tired have resonated in the energy of the children today. And they see the Eurocentric man through his Jim Crow laws and all this other stuff is still got their neck, their feet on, and their knee on the black man and black woman neck. God don't want it, and they don't want it no more. This time for a new Negro to rise up. God has said that he's going to bring you into great substance. You need to start looking for how that great substance is going to come in your life. You need to know the spiritual and the physical aspect of this. See, it's different than just knowing that God's saying it and knowing how the application of it come about. You need to know the application of how you're going to receive your great substance. Because this is the story where God is showing you how you're going to receive your great substance, my people. This is what it's all about now. I'm not talking about just you being in the condition no more, because you done came out of the 400 years. It's time for you to see how you're going to receive the great substance. I can't talk about them putting shackles on your neck without showing you how you're going to take the shackles off your neck. That's what's important right now. And you need to see this. Come on, my people. Now, let's break it down, because you're going to see an art in this. You're going to see the word of God in this. You're going to see this young man asking God something that God wants you to know. See, when he was able to ask God this and here, that means he done came to the knowledge of what he asked him. He's not asking God nothing out of order. These are divine principles that he's asking God, that he's talking with God about, that he's having a prayer with God about. And you need to know that. These are divine principles. These are the principles that have locked you in a condition, and these are the principles that will free you from the condition that you done got yourself into. And he, with his aid, putting you in there by taking the knowledge of God from you. And you need to see this, my people. I'm not going to try to holler in this. I know sometimes I carry on. But I want you to see this, because this is extremely important. See, if I'm going to be a messenger to you, I need to show you how you got in it and how you're going to get out of it. That way you know. Because I don't have to tell you you are in it, because you've been feeling it all of your life. You know. But now it's time for you to come out of it. But you got to use thought in your life. Thought must be in your life. And you need to see this. Now, what you're going to see, he came to himself. Okay? He came to himself. What is that? Social. Okay? Why is it social? Okay? We are a people. Okay? When you come to yourself, that means man know thyself. That's a social move. Being able to know who you are and what you need to do. Okay? Now, servants of my fathers. That means of my father. That means moral. That means immoral. You're talking about God here. And anything is dealing with God, it's moral. So you see social, moral. Have bread. Understand what it's saying. Have bread. Have bread. Bread means economics. Bread is about economics. That's why you hear sometimes they call money bread. Hey man, in the 60s, 70s, I think more the 70s, you got any bread on you? That's talking about money on you, finance, okay? Have bread. That's economics. Now notice this one. I perish. Why do he perish? That's political. Because the only way you could perish when you ain't got bread like to take care of yourself, that means there's laws put in place, implemented in place that's not fair to you. And if they're not fair to you, you are perishing. That means you are dead, you are perishing. Means you can't live the American dream. You can't live the American dream. So you got an area of inequalities in this area of political environment. And the next thing he said, with hunger. With hunger. Hunger deals with diet and appetite. With hunger, appetite means the substance that you want to bring into your life. Okay? Things you want to bring in your life to make your life better, to make your life more free, abundant, more beautiful, more glorious. Okay? Now, you got to understand that because it breaks it down right in here, and they took this from you right here. They took this knowledge from you. They put it in the book, but they didn't break it down so you could see what it really means. Those are the 5 divine principle, people. Those are the 5 divine laws. And if you're not operating in those 5 divine laws, you have sinned against God. You need to understand that because I'm going to get over the sin, talk about the sin over here. But before I go there, I want you to see something. Now, most people's, and I want to go straight to that. I want to tell you something that Bobby Kennedy said, a prophecy that Bobby Kennedy said, a creative prophecy. Bobby Kennedy, during the time of Robert F. Kennedy, said, things are moving so fast in race relationship, a Negro could be president in 40 years. Now, he said this in 1968. 40 years, Obama was president in 2008. Now, was this a prophecy that God brought forth, and it's a prophecy that they know and they plan? You got to understand what's going on because they had already planned this. See, these people have these plans 40, 50 years out for what they're going to do and how they're going to do things. And you need to catch your breath of this. You need to catch the knowledge of this because when they use the arts, they could put certain things in motion to make you think God did it when man has did it and he manipulated things, and you think because this is a fulfilled prophecy, then what that Kennedy made, then you think God came and fulfilled that particular prophecy when they gave you Obama, but they never gave you inequalities. So you didn't get nothing that you're supposed to get. You got a black man in the White House. You got a black woman in the White House with that black man. But at that time, things didn't happen the way it's supposed to happen. See, if you got a president in the White House, I don't care if he's German. He's supposed to help Germans out as well. I don't care if he's Jewish. He's supposed to have Jews out as well. I don't care if he's Irish. He's supposed to have Irish out as well. But what happened was that these individuals that got blessed at the time that this brother got in the White House, now I'm not saying it was all his fault, because when you got the inequalities, then it's very difficult for a president, a black president, to do very much. But at the same time, you can't let him off the loop because that office is for you to do for your people and do for Americans. So if you say you ain't a black president, you are automatically right up there telling me you're a Democrat that's telling me you ain't finna do nothing for the people. So if you're a Democrat telling me you ain't finna do nothing for the people, then what if a white Democrat get there, he could say the same thing. So if we ain't blocking our vote, we just giving the Democrat 8 years, 4 years, or 8 years to run against us or to do nothing for us. And this is the time we're supposed to be in our great suffering. So as we move in this campaign year, and if this Democrats don't make some deals about trying to make some reparation, Biden and whoever else up there, and they trying to straighten this out with this inequality, then we need to say, hey, look, we need to look at the other side. Now, it's like having one side, one evil, and another evil, which is the lesser evil, okay? Let's block our vote, take our chances, and be able to see what Donald Trump is going to give us and see what Biden is going to give us, and we need to make our decision on which one we're going to give our votes to. It's time to block it now, people. Quit giving your votes away. Get giving your labor away. Quit giving your dream away to somebody who don't give a damn about you. It's time out for that now. It's time for the great substance. And if they don't have no substance for us, we should not have a vote for them. Even if we have to sit out. We got to start flexing the power in which God has given us. We can't sit back no more because we're supposed to have political power. And if we're not using our political power and doing what we're supposed to do, we will perish. And this is what it's saying to us. We've been perishing because we have not controlled the political agenda, which controls the laws of the land. And by not having the ability to control the laws of the land, they've been redlining us when it comes to houses and mortgages. They've been locking our boys and daughters in jail because we haven't exercised the power in which God has given us. And the prodigal son started coming to himself and realized that these things are necessary for him to come out of that, in which you have to put yourself in the place of the prodigal son. It is necessary for you and other black peoples of this nation. We need to see the truth now, people. These are divine principles. And if you don't have these divine principles, you're going to always be in a voluntary slavery. You need to take this serious. This is no joke, my people. I cannot talk no more, no better right now than any other time. This has got to be taught. This has got to be known, my people. If I can't teach you this, I don't need to be in front of you. This is something that God wants you to see. These divine principles. This is the law of God. The 10 Commandments and 2 of those, my people, and you need to know that. Let's deal with it. Let's go with Luke. Luke 15, 18. Let's deal with it. I will arrive and go to my Father and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned. Listen, I have sinned against heaven and before thee. And you need to see this because you're going to see these laws that he gave him in Genesis 1, 28 through 29. I have sinned against heaven and against thee. How the black man does sin when the white man put him in that condition? The white man took you from that knowledge, and because you're not having that knowledge of those 5 divine laws, then you've been out of order, out of balance, and by you being out of balance, you've been put in sin. This white man put you in that sin by not telling you the knowledge of God that he got from your ancestors long ago. And when you came in his midst and he sent you into the field, by you not having that knowledge, you could not come against him. And he knew it. He knew he had you boxed in. How did he have you boxed in? He got you uneducated of your true self by keeping you from having the ability to read and understand. By not having the ability to read and understand and limited you to movement. See, you couldn't get off the plantation unless you had a letter, a note from the overseer of the plantation owner. You couldn't even carry a weapon. They had laws against you to even have a weapon to defend yourself from the Indians, etc. Indians wasn't scared of you because they know you ain't got nothing to shoot them with. They wasn't worried about you. And so they understood that. And you must understand this. And also what they did, in every Indian treaty, they gave the Indians so much money that if you ran away, they got money to go get you and bring you back. All right, now study this. Now check me and see whether or not this happened. And you'll know this. Now, the reason you've been out of balance is because in these laws, in these 5 divine laws, and they all through this Bible, in social, moral, economic, political, DNA, you have not been able to understand what this is truly all about and how these principles is necessary for you to be a dominant people in your life. You're gonna have to know that, my people. You cannot let anyone, by you being a nation of people within a nation, you cannot let anyone, the old prodigal son or the white man or nobody else, dominate your social, your moral, your economics, your political, and your diet and appetite. No one, no one, no one. You got to become the people that you are to be. And because of that, you've been out of balance. You've been in sin. What is sin? And what is the substance of sin? Sin is when you're disobedient to the laws and will of God. And God gave you these laws and wills right here. This is where he gave it to you. And you need to see. This is why I put Genesis 1:28-29. You must understand that. This is from the voice of God talking to you. And if you begin to understand that, you can see God's will, my people. You can see God's will. And you can see how you are out of balance. You got to be able to work. You'll see God in your morals from your point of view, not from a Eurocentric point of view. You got to see God from your point of view, not something he done taught you in a way that he done taught you religiously how to see God. No. Take that book and see God for yourself. You need to see God because, see, this man done took thought and hid it under the word that in many different areas of the Bible. He didn't want you to know Melchizedek as being your true Savior. He gave you a Serapis. And then later they called him Jesus. And he took the true Jesus, the heartfelt Jesus, and he made him out of image of Serapis. And you ran with it because you didn't know no better. You was never taught this stuff. You were never taught that there was Christians before the lifetime as the initiate saved Jesus. See, you had the bishops who was Christians under Ptolemy the First, Serapis. They was the first one known as Christians. See, but you go to church, they ain't never teach you this. Check me. Prove me wrong. Okay? Prove me wrong. And you need to understand this. See, they've been lying to you. And they've been telling you this and that because they done boxed you in and they kept you from the true knowledge. And that's why you're in the condition you're in. That's why you're catching hell, black man, and you've been catching hell. And God want to bring you out of it. So the great substance that he first got to give you is the knowledge and wisdom to know who you are and what you need to do to overcome these obstacles that have been placed in your way. You need to see this. What it says, Luke 15:20. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. That's moral act there. Now, how is that? How do history play this out? You got to understand that they use the numbering of the stars on you. On the back of the dollar bill, you will see that. On the numbering of the stars. And so what they had to do is that they had to divide 1.618, the golden ratio, into 144,000, which is 400 prophetic years, because you got 360 days in a year. And that brought them to, when you do the calculation and you convert those days of the golden ratio into our day count, and you go from 1619, that will bring you to exactly 1863, the time when the Emancipation Proclamation was written and the time when it went forth. And you got to understand that. See, they're not going to tell you this, my people. You ain't learning this knowledge in the pulpit. And you need to know this knowledge so you can free yourself from the condition that you've been put in. And the first thing you got to free is your mind. You got to free your mind, people. You got to become free thinkers. You got to come out of this old antique behind way that they done taught you about the Bible. Okay? Telling you that carrying the cross is a burden. It's like a burden, and it's something that like weight you down and all that BS. That's crap. That's not what carrying the cross is all about. The knowledge of carrying the cross is following God's five divine laws. And you'll understand that. And you can see that. Look at the other videos where it talk about the cross philosophy. And you will see what it's really all about. Now let's deal with this other area. Luke 15:22-23. The father said to his servants, now after he was a far way off, God kissed him. See the history. During the time the AME church came on the scene, the black man was on his way to move up toward God. Yet he was still calling God Jehovah. He was still calling his messenger Jesus, etc. But he knew the heartfelt Jesus. And the black man knew the heartfelt Jesus. The black man wasn't looking at no white picture and talking about that was his Jesus. A few of them did now. But they knew that the Jesus that they was talking about was a true Savior, one that will really help them get out of condition. And that's what they looked forward to and they prayed to. But it was not the way that they was doing it, and they left thought out or left Melchizedek out. They couldn't be complete. See, you can't leave out the Savior that God give you and be complete. So they gave you Jesus, and they was kept you from Melchizedek, a thought. And you got to be able to put all three of them together. You got to put the source together, which is known as Allah. You got to be able to put thought together, which is known as Melchizedek. And you got to put Horus together, that we call from the heartfelt Jesus, the one that dwells in the heaven. You got to put those in order, my people, so you can come out of this condition. And before now, you have not been there getting taught to do that. This is your day to do that, so you can really get your blessings that God got for you. Understand this now. Luke 15:22-23. And the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe. Look at the word robe now. What is the robe? If you're in a court of law and they put the robe on, they put the robe from the right hand on and they put it on them. That robe is a political act. That's political. Understand what it means by the best robe. And he said the best robe. That means you're going to become the most powerful political people on this planet at one time. But you got to work to it. It's not going to happen in one day, one night. But they say the first mile starts with the first step. You need a step. You need your marching orders so you can become the people you need to be. And put on him the ring, a ring on his hand. Okay. And put on him a ring on his hand. Put on him several times. But put on him a ring. Okay? His ring. Not a ring. Put a ring on his hand. Put a ring on his hand. What is that? Social power. That means the power to rule over a people. So you got to have the power and the knowledge and understanding how to rule over your people. You got to unite your peoples, my people. You got to unite your people. You got to come together and unite your people. What did Moses do? What did Joshua do? They brought some elders up there and they brought unity among their people. We got to bring unity among our people. We can't have some going this way and some going that way and some going that way and that way. That's why that ring is necessary. To understand that authority, that divine authority in which God has put before you. You got to understand that, my people. You can't have 55 or 6 different versions of what you're going to do and visions of what you're going to do. You must follow the messenger of God. And the messenger of God must bring clarity to what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it, my people. You need to understand this stuff. And God was saying to the servant to bring these things to it. And what else he said? And that ring is social. Okay? So you got political, the robe, you got the ring, putting on your hand, the social. And the shoes on his feet. What do the shoes represent in the cross philosophy and the philosophy, the principles of God? The shoes show where it touches the earth. An economic base. Everything economically comes from the earth, my people, and you must understand that. So God is telling you, put on the shoes, mean cultivate, make things plentiful for yourself, make things where you could be able to run the businesses, you could be able to run the financial institution, you could be able to run these factories, run all this stuff, so you be the people you need to do and be. You need to be those people that God wants to wear those shoes now. You need to control your own economics. You don't need to let some Eurocentric person run your banks and your insurance company and you got to go to them, because that's how you got into a voluntary slavery. And he want to get you out of that voluntary slavery. So you got to know these principles, my people. You got to understand this. See, he want to dominate you in the economics. He want to wear the shoes. instead of you wearing the shoes. But God wants you to wear the shoes now. He done wore the shoes in the past. Everything you have bought, you have went to the white man to buy. You go to the white man to buy your car. You go to the white man to buy your house. You go to the white man to buy your clothes. You go to the white man to pay your property taxes. You go to the white man to buy, get a tag to go on your car. You go to the white man for this, that, and that. God is tired of it, my people. He wants you to understand what's going on. That way you can build yourself in those 4 states. And you'll be able to run the political environment. You'll be able to run the social environment. You'll be able to run the economic environment. See, you can't do it scattered all across America. See, Martin Luther King said, we will make it to the promised land as a people. The other one to come 50 years later is to tell you where the promised land at. I am telling you where the promised land at. This land has already been designated to you, but you got to get the bald black man to get up and go claim it. And say, look, man, you done made this promise to me, and you've been making this promise, and you did it under the Republican Party because America is truly a republic. And they want to holler democracy. It's a republic. And under the Republican Party, you made a promise. So whoever the Republicans is right now, you need to go and tell the Republicans, I want my land. So you want me to vote for you? You want me to be a part of you, Donald Trump? You want to give us our land? Or start fixing it on the road where we will we'll control our land. We can move into that land. Give us the right finance necessary that we could go and develop ourselves on this. You know that these inequalities exist. You said, what you got to lose? That came out of your mouth. And Donald Trump represents the United States of America. He don't just represent the Republican Party. Democrats, he's your excellency. Never forget that. See, they don't want to talk about that. This is a republic. He's your excellency. In other words, he's your new king now, my people. So what you gonna do? It's time for you to learn how to have a language where you could talk to your new king. Tell me, am I wrong? What do your excellency mean? George Washington refused to walk in that because he didn't want to be called a your excellency, so he settled to be called a president. But if Donald Trump wants you to call him your excellency, and he demand that, and he desire that, you should give him enough respect and call him what he is. Because Donald Trump is one now. Barack Obama was one too. He was a your excellency. Come on now, let's tell it like it is. Study your history books, and you'll know that I'm not lying to you, my people. Understand this stuff. It's time for changes. If he's in a political position, it's time for you to don't wait no year and a half from now and say, well, we're going to wait this out. No. It's time for you to step to this man now. Okay? So the other one get in that position whenever, because who telling you that this man ain't going to have a second term? Who told you that? I don't know it yet, but I know that, hey, you don't sit there and gamble and say, don't do this. You got to work today while you have light. Don't sit there and wait on tomorrow. Make him stand up for what he's standing for. He said he want to do this and he want to do that. Our neighborhood is in this condition, it's in that condition. Make him stand to his word. Make him become a servant of God. Make him become a servant of God by doing the right thing. Because there's a wealth gap there. And we need to understand this. Let's deal with it. Told him to put the shoes on his feet, economics. And bring hither the fattest calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. Now this calf do not represent, most people think you're talking about eating meat and stuff like that. This calf don't represent that. What did the calf mean in the days? Calf means wealth, new wealth. See, we got to bring this new wealth. We got to bring this capital that we have. They say that the black man economy in the black man's life is as much as the 8th largest nation in this world. So if you got an economy big as the 8th largest nation in the world, but your money is coming, bouncing in your community and bouncing right back out into others' community, you got to stop the bounce. You got to begin to take that money that you bring into from your paycheck or from your contracts or all this that you get. And you need to start developing that economic ventures necessary so your money can bounce in your neighborhood. What do I mean? Let's deal with the nuts and bolts. You need to quit going to Allstate, Geico, State Farm, and all the other ones. And you need to start going to an insurance company that you come up with. So your people could have jobs in that area, your cars could be covered in that area, your homes could be covered in that area, and what you could do, you're gonna have revenue so you could build for them. See, most people, when I was in college, my instructor taught me that insurance companies ain't nothing but banks. And I said, well, Professor, why would you say that? He said, they take in a lot and give out a little. I said, darn. He said, right? He said, that's what they do. See, insurance company, they can make all this money, then they can invest it. They could be an apartment complex, they could do this, they could do that, and they can have investment, and they just build an investment. So you got to see that. You got to see that. See, you need banks too. What a bank could do is you got a bank, and you just say you got $1,000 in that bank, then that $1,000, when they put that $1,000 in there, he could lend out $9,000 more once he get that. See, if you got money in a bank, you got $1 million in that bank, okay, you could lend out $9 million on that million, people. Come on, this is what this man doing, and you sitting back, and he got all this extra money. This man could go and lend his people money to build restaurants and build this, build apartment buildings and all that, and you sitting back and you can't get none of that money because you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You done walk in the area of being imbalanced in these areas, and you have sinned against yourself and against heaven and against God. Because God told you what to do in the beginning, but you ain't trying to learn that. Although the white man ain't tell you that, what the truth about it, I'm telling you that, and you need to start grabbing this truth and run with it, people, because I'm giving you the key to the shackles. These keys is to take that shackle off your neck, off your morals. Take that shackle off your feet, your economics. Take that shackle off your right hand, your political. Take that shackle off your left hand, your social, and take that shackle from around your waist and your chest. Come on. Diet and appetite, your desires. Okay? You ought to see that prayer that I keep telling you about in the Jabez prayer is that, hey, look, what is your desire? See, God want to work magic in your life, but you got to understand it. Let's deal with it. Luke 15:24. I got about 10 more minutes. I'm going to try to cover this a little fast. For this my son was dead and is alive again. So what that means? This is the time you coming into the great substance. You was dead. You was in a voluntary slavery. You didn't understand this stuff here. But you're alive again. When is that? Is to be now, my people. Now you ought to come alive. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. See, you was the lost sheep of Israel. You was the lost sons of God. And God had to send you a messenger to pull you out of that condition so you could be the people that you need to be. He was lost and is found. And they begin to be married. See, if you're going to be married, you're going to be happy. You're going to be able to feel this American dream. You got to understand how you got in this condition and how you need to get out of the condition. You got to wear them shoes, people. You got to wear that rain, people. You got to wear that robe, people. You got to get that kiss on your neck, people. And you got to be able to eat properly, people, and bring right things into your life, okay? And you need to know this. Social inequality. First, you got to see yourself as a son. That's male and female. This word son ain't about son in that way that we talking about a man alone. He's talking about the sons of God, the sons of the Father, the sons of God. Male and female. You got the slave teaching in here, and you need to understand that. I'm not going to spend too much time in it, but you need to read 1 Corinthians 15:34, 1 Timothy 2:11. In the minds of the all, which is Allah, a man is never to be seen greater in leadership than a woman. Okay? Now, why do I say that? Okay, you got to understand the keys on this. He is never to be seen greater in leadership, although we're coming out of the age of deception and it have been a warring type environment, and God don't want his women's in that warring type environment, but yet that man must respect that leadership quality, not to go out and kill her enemy, etc., but to be able to come beside the man and figure out what right things need to be done. The right things need to be done. And the female must understand that she got to be who she is. She can't be a male. She can't be a male. What that name that they call them got there, the stud. She can't be that. Don't let them run that game on you. She ain't no stud. She's a woman. And she got to walk into her place as what she is. But you cannot keep her out of leadership position because she's a woman. You got to understand that now, my people. Okay. We are the sons of God. We must understand that we are the sons of God. The keys show when males will control and when females will control. And that's something I'm going to get in one day. I haven't taught that yet, although it's in the numbering of the stars. I'm going to teach that. So you understand that there's going to be a time of human history when women will dominate the scene. I'm going to say this again. There's going to be a time in human history where women will rightly dominate the scene. Okay? There's a time when God let men dominate it, and there's a time when God let the female dominate it. And you got to understand that. And that is seen in the numbering of the stars. Now, we got to see economic inequities, inequalities, is income distribution and the distribution of wealth. Okay? Now, why do I say that? Because you got to understand. The wealth of the white race is 99.9% over in the entirety over the black race. Why? Because this is a white nation. He controlled the investments, the banks, the land, and the businesses. You pay taxes on his land, okay, that he have claimed for himself. You really don't own anything, okay? Really. Because if you miss 5 years for paying your house tax, he can take that and mortgage that house and give that house, sell the house to someone else. See, you got to come out of this. And that means that he got total control of you. The second level of the pyramid, skill, trade, jobs, welfare. What is welfare? Welfare is giving somebody in Kentucky, the coal mine area, food and food stamp and a little check, etc. But welfare is also giving a scientist research money to do research. Welfare is also lending for college loans or grants for students to go to college. So welfare got to be understood broad, my people. Don't think welfare is for the little kid, little black kid that mom just don't have a job, etc. Because Jesse mentioned this long ago, and some of the other ones, civil rights workers, mentioned it long ago, and realized welfare was paid to white folks more than it was paid to black folks back in the 60s, 70s, and some of those times. So don't get it bent and think black folks are the only ones that deal with this. No, white folks will deal with it as well. But then you got the crime, laws, and criminals. The crime, laws, and criminals, black and white. Okay, crime, laws, and criminals. Over here, white race, crime, laws, and criminals. What we got? We got crimes, white collar crimes, black, blue collar crimes, etc. Among white folks, it's just like anything else. But you got the laws and you got the criminals. You got this law. Who run the laws? See, white folks run the laws here and they run the laws here. They dictate what is crime and what is not. They dictate the penalty you get with the laws that you get and you become that criminal. So you got to look at it like this. Down here, the black man pyramid is missing something. It's missing its capstone. That is a revelation, my people. It's missing its capstone. Why the Eurocentric man have never put that capstone on top of the pyramid in Egypt? Because he don't want that energy to flow toward you. He wanted to flow toward him. So if he could manipulate this energy, he could manipulate the arts and be able to know that he keep you out of those five divine laws and place himself in there, keep you from knowing how important it is that to have business and investments is important as being able to go to church. You will understand things. So you think going to church, a moral thing, is what it is all about. And you're sinning in the other areas. Yeah, you go to church more than anybody as a race of people. But you don't establish businesses and do investment more than anybody. So you are out of balance. You are in sin. And you need to understand that. And in this going to church, you learning the Bible literally without any keys, because he never gave you the keys that he had got from out of the Mediterranean, from the Egyptian. He kept those keys in his secret order, and he know what this thing really mean over here, and you never knew what it mean to carry your cross. You never knew what it mean to man know thyself. And because of that, you've been in that condition you've been in, okay? You got peoples even in Nigeria, Ethiopia, and other places like that. The white man is dominating, control, and got his fingers all in it because he keeping them from certain knowledge. Although they got the land, they got this, but if it wasn't for the Eurocentric sticking his nose in there, they'll be in poverty, strict poverty right now. And you got to understand, this man is working this all over the world. He's working these laws, and you need to see this. Now, the black race, you got to look at the black race. Compared in the top part of the pyramid, when it comes to investment, banks, land, businesses, the black man is 0.0001. That means he got very, very, very little of any of that stuff. Never none. And you got to see that. And that investment, those banks, that land, that territory, and the business, you need it in order to be able to build your people and make them become that industrial people, make them become that prosperity people that God wants them to be. And that's why the man in the prodigal son, the older brother, could say what he say, because he had all that stuff controlling it. And he did not want to see you come up. But that brother, that bloodline inside that black race hollered to God and say, no more, my Lord. No more, my Lord. If you made me a bloodline, now let me walk in it. Give me back my power. Give me back my magic that I'm supposed to have. Give me back my God. And that's what he asked for. And God granted it to him. And that's what you are asking for right now. That is what you need to ask for right now, black man and black woman, so God will grant it to you so you can move forward. And this is what you need to understand. You need to know where you're at, my brothers and sisters. You need to know the skilled trade jobs, welfare is part of the whole thing. But you need to know that you can't only have this and crime and laws and criminals be criminals in this thing, and when he got all this here. Because when you don't have this here, it's going to turn you into welfare criminals. And they're going to use their laws against you in crime. You need to see this, my peoples. Know how you get in these conditions and how you got to get out of it. You need to know these things. Black own no territory and control no laws. 100%. The pyramid is controlled by the Eurocentric power. And you got to see that, black folks. You got to see that this man have had you after slavery into a involuntary slavery and got you in that condition. Now you need to know this. Now, we need you to step in and step up to the plate, because many people need to know this knowledge. And we need you to donate and pay your tithes and your offerings to Cross Rock Incorporated and also Louis Armstrong Ministry. 7536 Jana Lane North, Jacksonville, Florida, 32210. That's 7536 Jana Lane North, Jacksonville, Florida, 32210. Also, under Cross Rock Incorporated, you could go to givelife.com, look under charity with Cross Rock, and make a donation. We have all, right now, when it comes to the book, I asked for 40 people. We have 4 people already. Now you got 36 more people. We're asking to give $500 toward the new book. The new book is called The Hidden Secrets. It's going to go into in-depth on things. You got to see this. This is the work that already been done. These are part of the manuscript, already been done. We got plenty more got to be done, and get this book out so you can begin to understand the things that you have not been told. Those secrets that they have hid from you, and have literally gave you the Bible and told you to study and go from that, and have literally given you these institutions of learning that took you nowhere without no keys. You must know that. And another thing I have said, once you pay that $500, your name will go in the front of this book. Inside this book, it's a place where you thank people for their input, etc. Your name will be in there. Your name will be in that new book as long as that new book exists, as long as it's being printed. So you can always go back and look at that book and see yourself, and see that you was a partaker of the early part of the 30 years of the Canaanite movement. You can see that, people, and you need to know that. You need to participate. You need to start putting your money where your mouth at. You need to be able to get involved in paying your tithes and your offerings to this organization. You can also go on and order the book. You need to order these books because it's very necessary to move this organization forward. And it's necessary for you to get the knowledge out of this book. You need to go into that story in this book on page 99 and all the way to 110, and look at it very closely about the prodigal son. You need to see yourself in that story, because you truly are there, my people. The black folks is in this book. This book is about black America. And you need to see these things and know what God is doing, and then you know the trickery that's been played on you. You need to be in this, and you know that. This book, the order of the book, Judgment of America, and Black Nostradamus. This is Black Nostradamus, Prophecy of America Future by Louis Jerome Armstrong, and this is the one, Judgment of America. You need these two things, and it's necessary. Now, you can find this book. It's under Louis Jerome Armstrong, author. You can find this book at Author House at 1-800-839-8640. That's 1-800-839-8640. Or you could go on Amazon. You can look at Barnes and Nobles as well, but I prefer telling you about this one because you could go directly there and you could get this. Now, we're going to say a quick prayer, a good prayer, and it's about you and God. Dear Heavenly Father, you have given me this audience, and you told me and showed me the book. You showed me how to understand the book and that you would be with me. You called me into the Melchizedek priesthood. So I am what Melchizedek is, a Melchizedek priest. You personally came. So Heavenly Father, I'm asking you to give those priesthood blessings, those blessings of safety, those blessings of happiness, those blessings of joy. Give them to the people, Father, that's under the sound of my voice. Let them know that you are there for them. Let them know that you now are willing to move the sorrow away, the tears away, the don't know and the doubt away, Father. Let them know that you are here now, that you are truly their Savior. And Heavenly Father, we say this in the name of God the Father. We say this in the name of thought of Melchizedek. We say this in the name of Horus of Jesus. And this is your messenger crying out to you, Father. Show them